All right, here we go. So, just so delighted to have you all join me on today. And if you are ready to have a good time and learn some information that's also going to help your marriage or future marriage, I want you to go ahead and put ready in the chat. If you are ready on today, can you go ahead and put ready in the chat? Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, Shakira, ready. Shonda, ready. Okay. Kiara, ready. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so as you can see, I love to keep the energy high. Eva, ready. Christina, ready. Okay, family. I'm ready too. Let's go ahead and get this started and honor you all's lunchtime with me. And so today we're going to be focused all on lifelong love and marriage. Okay. And because what we are seeing is that marriage is probably how you're doing in your most treasured relationships is actually one of the best indicators of how you are doing overall. And what the research is really showing is that having a healthy, happy marriage is actually more important to our health and well-being today than it has ever been historically, family. So when I always tell my students, I'm a psychology professor as well and a marriage counselor, I'll tell you a little bit about me, but really this is about you. All right, because I want you to leave this time with me with some information that will help you build up this very important relationship in your life. Okay, so I just want to let you know that you're in the right room. You are in the right place. And let me let you know how you were in the right place. Okay. So you are in the right place if you want to show up as the best version of yourself in marriage. And not only do you want to show up as the best version of yourself, you want to even, a person of faith, you want to honor God as well in your relationship. And then you want to focus on yourself and those personal changes, and you want to set your marriage up for success. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that you're in the right place. Okay, and this thing is personal for me. Okay, so if you, the success of your marriage, it really matters to me. I've dedicated my life's work to helping couples in this area. Okay, so the success of your marriage, it really matters to me. I'm a psychology professor. I talk about this all day. I teach the psychology of love. I teach personal relationships. I teach human development from conception until death. Like, this is my thing. And not only is it my thing, but I want to use this information to empower you to create the best marriage possible. I'm also a marriage and family therapist, so I see this on both sides. I love to work with couples proactively. I always say that it's easier to prevent a fire rather than fight a fire. And I want to help everybody on the line this afternoon to be able to prevent fires in your marriage and your relationship. I'm also a researcher. I study families. I look a lot at fatherhood and how your past experiences with your own father, how that impacts you. I also work for a center. Now, this is separate from the center that I work for. I also work for the National African American Child and Family Research Center. But all this information is separate from that, okay? But I'm a mom and I'm a wife as well. And so not only I'm living this thing, and I'm living this thing every day. And if you've seen me in Atlanta, you may have heard me on the radio with Mo, or you may have also seen me on the Portia show as well. If you're here in the Atlanta area, sometimes I'm a guest there spreading this message. I feel like I'm an evangelist for, healthy relationships, because they really are a matter of life and death. All right, so enough about me, because today is all about you. So I really want to just give you, what's a preview, Sandra? What's coming, Dr. Cassandra? All right. So I want to put this thing into perspective, family, because the landscape for achieving a healthy marriage, it has changed. It has changed. And my question is, have you seen a couple being, that you looked up to? They were, engaged. They seemed like a very promising couple. And then several years later, you may be devastated to hear that they've broken up, they're divorced, or things like that. And here's the reality, is that the landscape for achieving a healthy marriage, it has changed. And how has it changed? It has changed because our expectations are higher than they have ever been historically. So we see that the average marriage in America is not as happy as average marriages were just 20, 30 years ago. That will not be you, my friend. You will not have an average marriage. And even the fact that you are showing up here today shows me that you're different. Come on now, you are very proactive, all righty? And so we're going to talk about these secrets because I don't want it to be a secret anymore. I don't want these things to be a secret. I want you to be armed with this information so that you can understand this information and then apply it. Use the wisdom to apply it to create the marriage that you know is possible for you. So we're going to go into these things. It's going to be research-based. It's going to be practical. It's even going to have some faith-based elements in here because here's the thing. I want you to win. Okay. So we're going to be talking about the power of a positive mindset. The healthy marriage starts in your mind first. You got to believe it. You got to see it because how we think about things, family, is it's going to impact our emotions. It's going to impact our behavior. It's going to impact how we show up. So what we see and what we experience starts here first. It starts in the mind first. And I want to give you some practical research-based tools and strategies that you can use to put your mindset in the right place. And then, as we all know, okay, it's all about how do we communicate. So effective communication is key. All right. And I'm going to give you like as much as I can in this like lunch hour. And then here's the thing. Nobody's perfect. We're going to talk about effective repairs. How many of you guys have heard of apology languages? Have heard of love languages. You've heard of love languages, put yes in the chat. If you've heard of love languages, put yes in the chat. Have you heard of love languages before, family? Okay, I see a thumbs up from Christina. All righty, I love it, I love it, I love it. My other question is, though, okay, let's see here. Okay, y'all lighten up the chat. Okay, Katrina, yes. All right, Eva, yes. Melanie, yes. Kiara, yes. D, yes. Awesome, family. Okay. Apology languages, family. They were both coined by Dr. Gary Chapman. And I think that apology languages are just as important as love languages because here's the thing. We are working with other human beings who are imperfect. And unforgiveness, woo! You're gonna get it, Ava, tonight, this afternoon. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get this information, okay? Because we have to repair effectively. Here's the thing: the research is very clear. Happy couples as well as unhappy couples, they both experience conflict. But one of the distinguishing factors for couples who are happier is that they have an effective repair strategy, all righty? And a very effective repair strategy is being able to speak an apology language that is going to resonate with their with their spouse. Oh, Christina, you learned apology languages from me? Okay, this is not your first rodeo with me. Okay, Christina. Awesome. So happy to have you online this afternoon. Love that, family. So we're going to be going into that because I don't want these things to be secret any longer. I want this to be information that you apply. All right. And then, we'll talk about how, because even the research is clear on this. I talk about this even at the university level, like having a faith-filled marriage and seeing your marital relationship as something sacred, as something divine, how that actually helps as a maintenance strategy, and it helps you to show up differently as well. All right. So we'll dive into that. Honestly, y'all, this could be like a 4-week class, but I'm gonna jam pack it into our hour together. All righty. And then the last piece is like, how can you be intentional with this thing? Because your marriage wants to eat. Oh my gosh. Your marriage wants to eat. So how can you actively pour into it? How can you be proactive instead of reactive? Because here's the thing, you guys see that I am a counselor, right? So I see all aspects, right? And so here's the thing, on average, this is what the research has shown, and I see it a lot of times in working with couples. On average, couples wait 7 years of experiencing distress before they actually go out and seek a counselor. Here's what's problematic about that is that they've had mindsets that they have been toying and playing with for a period of long time that are going to be harder to shift. Okay. And then not only that, but even behaviors that they have ingrained in themselves by that time. And a lot of times people become hopeless. And we don't want that to be the case with you. We don't want that to be the case with you. So we're gonna also, so here's the thing. I can't give you everything in an hour, but I'm gonna pack it with as much power as I can in this hour. But if I'm going to give an opportunity at the end, right? For you, if you want to say, Sandra, this thing matters to me. I want to have the marriage that God has for me. I want to take it to the next level, right? And I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that, because this is like a good workout. You working out with a good trainer today. I'm just gonna put it out there, okay? So you're working with a really good trainer today. But here's the thing: even if I was the best trainer in the world and I was an Olympic trainer, but if you only train with me one day, you might feel the burn the next day, but eventually that thing is going to wear off. And here is the thing, is that your marriage is too important to feed it once a year or once every 5 years. So I'm going to present an opportunity for you to actually actively work on this thing that is showing that this thing is so powerful. Okay, so we're going to go into those aspects. So here's the thing. All right, I'm just gonna lay it out there. Here's the thing: building a strong, healthy marriage could be one of the greatest assets of your life. I study this, family. You guys know I'm a family studies researcher when it comes even just to basic assets. And even if we're just looking at it from a wealth perspective, all right, we see that happily married couples, they sustain greater wealth over the lifetime. But here's the thing: we don't just want to leave a financial inheritance for our kids. We also are leaving a marital inheritance with respect to the impression that we leave on our children with respect to marriage, but then we are also leaving an emotional inheritance. And the research is very clear when it comes to youth. The most predictive factor of their success is their emotional intelligence. How well do they get along with peers? How well do they get along with peers? And I even have a research article that I published that looked at how, we did an intervention with parents and how that positively impacted children's social competence. You are laying the foundation, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, for the next generation. This thing is weighty. All right. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know, I'm gonna briefly go over this. I told y'all I need about 4 hours, but I'm packing this into 1 hour, right? So if you've ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he was a psychologist. It talks about how before we can go to those higher level needs for a human being, such as self-actualization, self-expression, personal growth, you have to have the basic needs met. So this is how marriage has changed. I told you, I was going to tell you, family, about how marriage has changed in comparison to what it was historically. And this comes from Dr. Eli Finkel. So we have the highest expectations. So now people do not just get married for basic needs like they did in the early 1800s. People were getting married because they needed to have kids to work the farms. They needed to get married because they needed shelter. People are not necessarily getting married for those basic physical needs any longer. People are getting married now because they want their partnership to help them with their personal growth. They want their partnership to help them become the best person they could be with their self-expression, to express themselves to the best capacity as possible. Okay, that's how marriage has changed. So, back in the 1800s, it was pragmatic. People got married because they needed food and shelter. Then it became more love-based in the 1850s to 1965. But now we are in the era and the period of the self-expressive marriage. All righty? So we are now in the era of the self-expressive marriage. However, to achieve a self-expressive marriage, which is kind of like the creme de la creme of marriage, it takes more time and it also takes more knowledge than it did in times past. And so it's not just love that's going to be enough. It's going to be the application of knowledge and wisdom to achieve this higher level of marriage. And as I said before, average marriages today are more unhappy than average marriages were in just 30 years ago. We're not in for average, right? Say, do you want the top of the top? Do you want the best of the best? If you want the best of the best, I want you to put best of the best in the chat today. If you want the best that's possible, I want you to put the best of the best in the chat today. Best of the best, Kiera. I love it. Best of the best, Dee. I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to keep this as a conversation. Thank you so much. Best of the best, Shakira. Best of the best, Christina. Best of the best, family. I love it. I love it. And honestly, that's what God wants for us too, because this is something that he designed for us. All right. And anything that he's designed is beautiful. Okay. But there is a level of application and knowledge and time. And the reason why Dr. Eli Finkel calls this model the suffocation model of marriage is because to get to those higher levels of a mountain, the air is thin, the oxygen is thin. Okay. And so what is happening for a lot of couples today is that their expectations are high, but they don't have the oxygen to climb the mountain. And to climb the mountain, what is the oxygen? It's a knowledge set, it's a skill set, it's a relational skill set. So that's knowledge and skills, but also time. It also takes time, it takes effort, it takes intentionality to get to those levels. And so what happens is they're trying to climb the mountain, but they're suffocated because they don't give their marriage enough time. They don't give it enough attention. Or they don't necessarily have the conflict resolution skills. They don't have the communication skills. They don't have the skills to get to those higher heights. So they don't have the oxygen and they're suffocated by it. So what we're seeing today is that an unhappy marriage is more costly today than it was ever in times past. It's more costly to one's mental health. It's more costly to one's even physical health than it was in times past because we're putting more weight in this thing than we did in times past. Now, I've got a lot of opinions about that. I think sometimes as well, we got to have a balanced approach as well, because ultimately our self-expression is ultimately like, personally, I'm a believer. I believe that, that the Lord is really ultimately our greatest expression of ourselves, right? But this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing. Okay. Now, so there's happiness-based model where people think if I just marry the right person, it's not going to take hard work. And people believe in this happiness-based model is just more so kind of like, if you know Dr. Caroline work, Dr. Dweck's work with the strengths-based model, the happiness-based model that we're being fed, culturally speaking, through the media, through all of these streams and channels, is saying that your marriage should be focused on pleasure. It should be focused on your self-esteem, that it will be happy if you pick the right person, like this whole soulmate idea. And that really marital fulfillment is not compatible with personal fulfillment. But really, we want to get more to a growth mindset that's focused on meaning, like focus on the meaning. You pursue self-expression as well, but you understand that a healthy marriage is not just about a perfect partner or a perfect match, but it may require some endurance, extensive endurance. It may require some forbearance, but that's the growth. And it doesn't see marital success as incompatible with individual success. They think they're compatible because as you grow as a person, your marriage grows. And as your marriage grows, you grow. All right. Okay. You already see where I'm coming from right there. Okay. So here's the thing, family. And this is even, it takes knowledge and a skill set to climb that mountain of marital success. And that's what I'm trying to give you here on today. So I'm going to give you, let's go ahead and dive on in. All right. Are you ready to hear the 5 secrets? The 5 secrets. Here we go. The very first one is your mindset. Your mindset is everything because the possibilities for your marriage start in your mindset first. It starts in the filter by which you see and experience your relationship, okay? And my question is, like, a positive mindset is so key. And the way that you can tell what your mindset is what is the inner script? What is the inner narrative that you have about your relationship? And that inner script can be distress maintaining, meaning that narrative, that inner, because the person you talk to the most is actually yourself, family. Okay. So the person that you talk to the most, family, is actually yourself. And so the way that you can measure, like, what is my mindset toward my relationship, is to ask yourself, what is that narrative that you're telling yourself? Is it positive or is it negative? And so your mindset can either maintain distress, and the more that script is talking to you, the more upset you get. Or it could be a relationship enhancing perspective, to where that narrative is actually making you feel better about your relationship, making you feel better about your partner, making you feel better about yourself. I'm all for some relationship enhancing. Okay, so you may say, okay, Cassandra, how do I determine, like, I need some help with this. So this is what, and we see this in the literature. So a distress maintaining mindset. Because here's the thing, we don't know exactly why our spouse or, fiance does exactly what he or she does. So we have a mental explanation for it. So that's what an attribution is. Your attribution is your mental explanation of your spouse's behavior. And so that can be distress maintaining. Now, how is that distress maintaining? That could be explaining your partner's behavior in ways that actually perpetuate your distress, makes you feel worse. All right. And so it's a negative filter, essentially, versus a positive filter, which is a relationship enhancing filter. All right. So this is just a diagram of that. And so I might not have time to go into this as in depth, but what this is saying is that regardless of your partner's behavior, whether it's positive or negative, the explanations that you give make the situation worse. So even if it's good, even if your partner does something good, let's say they clean up the entire house for you, the way you explain their behavior is like you're explaining it in like, oh, they cleaned up the house because somebody is coming over. That's external to them. That's not really a part of who they are. They don't do this all the time. It was not within their control that we're having company. And that's why they did this positive thing. All right. Now, if they did something negative, you say that's who they are. That's internal to them. They always act this way, and it was in their control, and they still, did something to upset you. On the flip side, okay, this is a relationship enhancing attribution. So you're explaining your spouse's behavior in ways that actually gives them grace for their mistakes, and actually gives them and treasures their goodness. And here's the thing, is this filter makes you feel better about them and makes you feel better about the relationship as well. And so in the same situation, when they do something positive, you say, you know what, that's internal. That's a part of who they are. And they are consistently like this. And you know what, they didn't have to be nice to me and clean up the house. But this was within their control, family. This was within their control. And then when you think about the nice thing that they did, it actually makes you feel better about the relationship. You see how this filter helps to enhance the relationship? And even when they may do something negative, let's just say they were late to a big time dinner that you had, the way you're explaining that is, oh, something must have happened. Maybe there was traffic. You're not saying, oh, they're always late, they don't care. You're saying something unstable happened to offset this behavior, and it was out of their control. And just thinking about it that way even makes you feel better about them, makes you feel better about the situation. And this is extremely powerful, family, with respect to our mindset. And your mindset is something that you have complete control over. And that's why I start here with mindset. All right. Okay. So now we're going to shift gears into the second secret. And I always say, when you think about like troubles that couples have, let's put in a chat some troubles or difficulties that a lot of married couples have per se. What do you think are a lot of kind of concerns and issues that couples have? Go ahead and write in chat. Shakira, financial, family, yes. Communication, yes. Intimacy, Kiera, yes. So you're spot on. Yes, intimacy, communication, family, financial concerns. Here's the thing, family. I always say emotional versus logical thinking. Yes, you'll usually have one partner who's a little bit more, focused on emotions, a little bit more, one person who's a little bit more focused on logic. But here's the thing, out of all these issues that you guys noted in the chat, the way that you address any of these concerns is you got to talk about them. And that's why your style of communication is so critical, because it is your currency. And not only is it so critical, but it's how you talk to one another creates a certain environment. It creates a certain feeling in the relationship. It's not something you can necessarily see, but it is something that you can feel. You can feel and sense their tone when they're on the phone with you. You can feel and sense their tone even in their nonverbals when they come into the room. And here's the thing is that we as partners, we co-regulate our emotions. That's why when your spouse may come home or, you say, what's wrong? And they say nothing, you know something wrong. Because you're so close, there's a co-regulation there in your emotions. And so your communication and your style of communication is not just in the words that you say or how you communicate, but it actually creates an environment and an atmosphere in your whole relationship. That's why communication is so important. If you want to address family issues, you got to talk about it. If you got some financial concerns, you got to talk about it. If you have some intimacy concerns, you got to talk about it. And how is the nature of your talking about it? Now, class, family, I could talk about this all day. Now, but I'm not. I'm going to honor your lunchtime, right? Because we got 3 more secrets, 3 more keys, right? But this is everything in a relationship. It can enhance the bond because how you talk, like when you see emotional self-disclosure that is met with emotional validation from your partner, guess what that does? It bonds you. So when I can share my emotions and I'm communicating and I feel seen, I feel understood, I feel heard, I feel validated. Now I put myself out there in that vulnerable way and I communicated it and I got that thing validated on the other side, automatically, boom, bonding. And that's what we want our communication to do. And here is the thing, is that all of our emotions may not always be happy emotions, but even when we share the sadness, oh my goodness, I want to share with you this afternoon ways in which to even share maybe some sad emotions in a way that's going to be received. Oh my gosh, in a way that will disarm your partner, help the walls come down. All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and dive on into this. So when conflict does come up, there are things that we want to avoid. I talk about this when I do my challenges. These are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. These are the things you want to avoid because these are not going to build a bond. These are going to cause your spouse's walls to go up. Criticism. This is attacking your partner's personality or character. Is extremely problematic because that is going to create distance. And with our communication, not only are we creating an environment, but we want to create a bridge. On one side is you and on one side is your spouse. We don't want to be living in isolation. We want to create a bridge of understanding. We want to create a bridge that creates an emotional bond. And sometimes navigating that bridge, it takes courage, it takes humility, it takes putting yourself out there, and it takes avoiding these things even when you may feel tempted to utilize some of these strategies. All right, and so the research is very clear on this. Dr. John Gottman, who's probably one of the most premier researchers when it comes to looking at marriage and understanding it from like a scientific perspective, he called these the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse because they are just that problematic to the bond. And through his research, he would invite newlywed couples into his quote unquote love lab. He would observe them. He would take their heart rates. He would look at their cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, indication of stress. Take swabs in their mouth to look at their cortisol levels, all of this. And he could predict up to 94% accuracy which couples will get divorced in 7 years. And he was 94% accurate. So when I tell you there's a science behind this, we know what works, we know what doesn't work. This is where this information is coming from. Okay, so these things create walls. These things cause people to say, okay, I gotta arm myself, I gotta defend myself. And that's not what we want, because with vulnerability, we want there to be this openness and vulnerability and need to risk. Okay. All righty. So also too, defensiveness and stonewalling. Okay, so these are things, and defensiveness is very problematic, especially if your spouse is primary apology language is accepting responsibility. Okay, thank you so much, Sally. All right, so here we go. So now these are the 5 effective communication strategies to use during conflict. I gotta go quickly because we got some good stuff to get to. Okay, the first thing is self-awareness, family. You have to be aware that, okay, because here's the thing, what happens is when we are highly upset, we go into defense mode. We go into fight, flight, or freeze. And so what we first need to do is take a self-awareness to say, oh my gosh, I'm really upset right now. And engagement, I'm at 100. If I say something, I might have an accident. I'm moving really quickly through this traffic. I might need to slow it down emotionally. And so you want to become aware of your heightened emotion. And the second piece, this is hard to do, but you can do it, is to take a break and cool down and give your body and your brain and your emotions time to calm down. So that when you do engage, because we're trying to engage to create connection, right? So we're trying to engage to create a connection. And the way to do that is quite apparent if you're angry, if you're upset, or if you're frustrated. But if we express those intense emotions, what do people do? They try to defend themselves. They're going to put a wall up. We don't like pain. We don't like, we don't like just go and say, okay, let me go sign up for a little bit of emotional pain. That's not our nature as human beings. And so what we want to do is we want to express, anger is actually a secondary emotion. And there's a primary emotion that's actually usually driving that more intense emotion, okay? And so we want to get to that. You may be angry, but really you're kind of sad and disappointed. And if you express your sadness and you're disappointed in a calm state, then that is going to be more likely to be received than the anger. All right. But you're human. So being angry is natural, but we don't want to sit with that thing too long. Just in the devotional that I sent the ladies who are part of my accountability group, Speak Life Wise Accountability, I was saying it's so critical that when things go wrong, we want to make things right as quickly as possible, because the longer we allow that thing to fester and sit, the more damage it can do. Okay. And then the fourth key is to consider your spouse's perspective. This is the empathy piece. Even if they were the ones who hurt you, you have to consider their perspective, because this is creating the bridge. This is from you being on your side of the embankment, them being on their side of the embankment. And when you decide to consider their perspective, you're moving from your side of the embankment to their side of the embankment. And you are actually building a bridge. And the more that you risk, the more likely they are to reciprocate, okay? And then you want to express what you need to see instead, using I statements, just giving you a little taste, right? I go into depth with this in all my other work, but just wanted to give you a little taste. What about when things go wrong? A lot of you all said that you have never heard of apology languages before. And here's the thing, we are human, our spouses are human, our fiancés or whomever are human. So we are bound to make mistakes. We're bound to maybe hurt each other here and there. But we have to have a way to repair, and apology languages are ways to do that. And so apology language makes sure that you make a deposit in the right account that's in the red. Because when an infraction has happened, then you have made an over withdrawal in that account. And now it's in the red. We got to get it back into the black. But if I'm depositing into another account that's not in the red, it doesn't even matter. Okay. And so we want to make sure that we're depositing in the right account. The first one is expressing regret. Okay. This person needs to hear a genuine, I'm sorry, and they need you to acknowledge the emotional pain that was caused. The second one is accepting responsibility. In this case, one of the four horsemen that is very problematic is defensiveness, because this person really needs you to accept and take full responsibility for that wrongdoing. And what defensiveness does is it's making an excuse. It's a counterattack, and that is very problematic. Genuinely repenting. In this case, they need for you to express, how are you going to change? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to turn and ensure that this doesn't happen again? What's going to be your plan for ensuring that this doesn't happen again? And then making restitution. For this person, the infraction caused them to believe that they even question, do you love me anymore because of the infraction? Maybe something you did or said really shook them to the core. And so they need to hear that you still love them. They need you to lay it on thick. They probably need you to speak a lot of their love language. And they need for you to have a way of making up for that wrongdoing, right? You want to go into depth. There's also an apology language quiz. You can just Google it. I recommend it. For people who go through my class, it's actually a class assignment. Very important. And then the fifth one is requesting forgiveness. In this case, this person needs you to really request and say, I'm sorry I did this. Can you forgive me? All righty. So, okay. So you guys enjoying yourself so far? Now, here's the key. I should put this first, but your faith can actually help you build lifelong love. It is really the crux. Kiara, is called the apology language quiz. Apology language quiz. You can just Google it. It's free. It's about 5 minutes. Okay. Awesome sauce. Okay. So what we see is that even when you keep God in the center of your relationship, like when we see that, we even see this in the research. So couples who see their marriage as something that is sacred, something that is divine, they believe that God brought them two together, that actually helps with their relationship stability as well as satisfaction. And you want to identify not just why you think you are together for your own purposes, but what is the bigger purpose behind why God brought you together? Okay. And there's a big key to this as well with respect to you have an assignment. Just like your life, you're here for a reason. Your marriage is here for a reason as well. Seeking God out on that purpose, and it will give you a bigger why, and it will help to anchor you as well during those harder times. All righty. And the fifth key is, remember how I said your marriage needs to eat and your mindset is so powerful? Here's the thing, family. Okay, so adolescent health survey is called the Ad Health Survey. I always say this all the time, especially if you're working with adolescents. If any of you guys do work in the community, or if you are a teacher or you're working with adolescents, and a lot of times they're always thinking about, okay, how can we reduce risk-taking behaviors, whether it be, using substances or anything of that nature, or sexual health, risk-taking behaviors and things of that nature. We're all trying to think about how can we prevent these things among youth. The most powerful way, and the research is very clear on this, is giving them a strong sense of vision and clarity for their future. So what we see is that when youth have a very strong orientation for their future, such that they believe they're going to do big things in life, they have this vision for what they want to accomplish. They want to be a doctor. They know what they're going to do after high school. They see 20, 30 years down the line, they see that their future is bright. So hope and a vision, that having that curbs and reduces their likelihood of engaging in behaviors that will mess that up. So engaging in those risk-taking behaviors, and the same is true for your marriage. So sometimes people get married and that's it. They don't have an active, tangible plan for how to manage this thing. They're building a house, and here's the reality. It says, with wisdom is a house built. Right? That's the word of God. And so here's the thing, your marriage is a house that you're building. And we wouldn't go into that thing without a blueprint. We wouldn't go into that thing without a plan. And the reality is that so many people go into marriage and they say, I want to be happy, but they haven't even framed with their words what that means. They haven't even framed with their words what marital success means. For them, it's just a feeling. And here's the thing, if you've ever built something, you know that it was more than emotional. If you got a college degree, you know it was more than just your excitement than when you got accepted into the school. So your marriage day was your acceptance letter. But real marriage is going to class every day. Real marriage is taking the test. Real marriage is talking to the professors when you have difficulty. The marriage itself, class, is you getting started at the registration table for the marathon. But you got some conditioning to do. You have to have a plan and a strategy. You have to eat healthy foods to run a marathon. And the same is true for your marriage. You got to have a plan. We wouldn't go into business without some type of strategy, without some type of plan. We can't wing it. And that's what happens. People enter marriage winging it. They enter marriage winging it. They don't have a plan. They ain't got no vision. See, the vision grounds you when a tough test comes. Just like in school. You may have taken trigonometry, right? And let's just say you may fail a test, but that didn't mean you failed college. We just pick ourselves right back up again. But if you don't have a plan, it's easy to fold. And that's what we see every day. And your marriage is way too important for that. Too important. You remember I said this is real important? Real important. Okay, I just want to do a check-in, family. I just want to do a check-in. Are you enjoying yourself so far? Was this helpful, family? Is this helpful so far? Just how you doing? If it's good, put good in the chat. Okay, Christina, yay. Yay, good, D. Oh, very helpful, Kiara. Good. iPhone, I see you. Shakira, Janetta, good. Eva, good. Awesome, family. Good. So one day, good. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it. Thank y'all for joining me on your lunch hour. Okay, so my question is, do you want to take steps after this masterclass? Remember, like I said, I started this off, I said, we're gonna have a good training today. Okay, I compared it to like a physical training session. Okay, I was your Olympic trainer for one day. But even as an Olympic trainer for one day for your marriage, doing it just one day is not going to cut it. All righty? So I want you to take steps after this because the fact that y'all are showing up, y'all some proactive people. I'm just going to let you know that already. So this is my opportunity for you. This is my opportunity for you to feed your marriage and to capitalize on your proactive mindset toward marriage, okay? So this is my opportunity. I actually want to teach you how to plan for and create a vision for your journey for lifelong love. Because here is the thing, your marriage, it is like a car. But here's the thing, we need to have a plan and a roadmap. We want to be very clear on our destination, what we're trying to achieve. In one of my assignments in Marriage Head Start, I have my couples create a vision of their 50th wedding anniversary. And I say, it's been 50 years. You are having a big shindig and everybody's there celebrating your 50 years of marriage. Your kids are there. Your great-grandchildren are there. Your grandchildren are there. People from your old jobs, people that you served in the community with, people from your church. Everybody is there and they are celebrating your marriage. What do you want them to say that they've learned about marriage by watching you? What is the legacy? Remember I was talking earlier about how your marriage is so important because not only is it going to leave a financial legacy, but it's going to leave a marital legacy. It's going to leave an emotional inheritance for your children. Remember I was saying that? And so here's the opportunity, family. I want you to create this roadmap and I want to be your coach. all right? And it's the Marriage Head Start program. Okay, now let me just let you know what this is about. This really lays this thing out. This is a planning system. This is more than just you watching videos online and getting excited about content, but this is actually a resource that you can use until death do you part. You get the templates and you can utilize this system on a quarterly, yearly, and 5-year projections with your planning process, okay? For what you do is you create a yearly vision of the 10 critical areas of your marriage, okay? So these are the 6 modules. So these are the educational modules. If you see, this is my style. I love to teach, right? And so this is the style that I have here. And what you have is you have actually, we talk about, you remember how I said people don't really have clarity around what they're trying to achieve when it comes to marital success? You actually have that here, okay? You are actually creating the foundation of your roadmap. It'll be teach me how to love you. It'll be principles for effective decision making, because you're going to be making some of the most important decisions of your life together in marriage. You're going to be talking about where you're going to live, buying a house together. That's a big deal. Where you're going to live, how you're going to parent your children together. Then we're going to talk about those 10 critical areas of your marriage, such as like finances, communication, sex, intimacy, household responsibilities. And then we'll talk about how do you plan in those 10 areas. And then I'll teach you the actual planning method for Marriage Head Start, where there's actually a system that you can take to actually work on your marriage. And then we'll talk about how this is a lifelong journey, and I will help you through that lifelong journey. So these are the 10 areas that we're going to focus on: communication, finances, sex, children, faith, work, family, life balance. That's a big deal. Health and nutrition, recreation, investing in your marriage. Remember I said your marriage wants to eat? We want to feed it with what it needs for the marathon. And then working on your dreams together. Those are the 10 critical areas. So what does this look like? The modules themselves, all by themselves, I mean, honestly, let me just tell you this. The cost of a divorce in Georgia on average is $10,000 to $20,000. You cannot afford not to invest in your marriage, because the research is also very clear. If you don't do anything, no matter, you can be head over heels. But if you do not actively work on your marriage, what we see is marital satisfaction declines, which is a highly big risk factor for things not working out. I want you to be proactive. I want you to take action, okay? Also, too, you get all those planning templates that you'll have for, honestly, the rest of your life, okay? Another bonus, you could be a part of our online community. I also give you a suggested reading list, and then also marriage affirmations, okay? When I was saying that the cost of an unhealthy marriage is, not only could it cost you divorce, but it could literally cost you your health. It could cost you the health and well-being even of your kids. This, when I say this thing is, it matters, it matters. And I want you to do the investment on the front end. Now, I am offering a 1-hour virtual session for the first 5 people who sign up today, okay? That is like remarkable. That's at least a $150 value. Okay. And so, I'm here. This, as you can see, this is who I am. I want to be your advocate. So, I mean, there you go. That's like about $1,500 at least. But as I said before, I want to help you invest on the front end so that you don't have to invest on the back end when things are hard, like those couples who wait 7 years after experiencing distress before they seek out the help. They don't have a plan. They don't have a strategy. They didn't do the work. Okay, everything's online as well, so you'll be able to have access to it yourself on your own. So, I'm not going to charge you $1,500, even though it's worth that and more. Okay, so, but for today, you get all of this. You can go at your own pace online, all of this information for just $197. And when I say your marriage is worth it, it's worth it. That's less than what your flowers are gonna cost or what your flowers cost for your wedding, your bouquet. My bouquet, I remember my bouquet was at least about $350, $400, $500 a bouquet. Okay, so I know that your marriage and having a planning system for your marriage is worth so much more than a bouquet, worth so much more. That's a nice pair of shoes, worth so much more than a nice pair of shoes. You know, we invest in the wedding. We invest on the front end for what things look like. This is actually an opportunity to invest in your marriage. All right. And so how can you go there? So go here. So the program is actually the price of it is $4.99. But when you go to marriageheadstart.com, what you'll do is you'll go and you will enter VIP couple as your coupon code to get this discount. Okay, so you'll go there and you'll enter VIP couple to get your discount. And so I'll see who are my 5 little people who, will get signed up. And then so what I will do is I will contact you with a link to get signed up for your one-on-one appointment. Okay, and that is for my first 5 people who get showed up. So I'm looking here, making sure I get the updates to see who does that. And here's the thing, like that people, what we see even with success. So what I'm learning is that success principles don't just apply to business, but they also apply to marriage. And people who move quickly and act quickly, they usually are people who are like success, like speed. And when I talk about your marriage, the success of your marriage is just like something you don't want to move slowly on. It's not something you want to wait years and years and feel it out and see how it works. Like you want to go in with intentionality. You want to, just like how we would go in if we're trying to, do like a bodybuilding contest. You don't want to go up there and say, I train myself. You may want a personal trainer who can push you beyond your limits, who can help you sculpt your body beyond what you could do on your own. And the body of your marriage is way much more important than getting up on a stage for a bodybuilding contest. Okay, like we really want to do that work. And so this is my opportunity to give you to do that now. And if you have any questions, I am here to answer them because, as I said before, I want you to win. I want you to make that investment. So who all enjoyed your time today? If you enjoyed your time today, say me. I enjoyed my time on today. As well, in addition to this, when you sign up, you will get 3 months free for my accountability group for wives. What I do with that is I send out an email. Oh, Dee, wonderful, wonderful. I'm so happy you enjoyed it. So I send out 3 emails per week with a devotional, with an action step. We also meet twice a month as well, where I go into a training like this. But then it's a little less formal. And so you can actually ask me questions. I'm kind of there as a resource. We do those on Mondays, like we do those 2 Mondays out of the month at noon. And so we have that as a resource as well. And so, you can actually get signed up to do that as well. So I'm just here for questions. I'm so happy you enjoyed it, Shakira. I'm so happy you enjoyed it, Eva. I'm so happy that you enjoyed it, iPad. I don't know your name, but I'm so happy you enjoyed it, Kiera. Yes. So is this your first time? Did I meet any of you guys at the bridal show? Oh, Sawande, I'm so happy you enjoyed it. Did I meet any of you guys at the bridal show, or did you go to a bridal show here recently? If you did, put bridal show in the chat. I love to meet new friends. I love to meet new people and invite you into our little ecosystem here at Uplifting Relationships. Oh, bridal show, Shanice, Shakira. Oh, wonderful. I'm so happy that you guys joined me today. Well, now you are part of my little system. So whenever you see emails from Dr. Cassandra, I don't blow you up or nothing, anything like that. But just know that I'm here as a resource to support you. And I definitely want to see you win. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All these ladies on the bridal show. Woo, woo. Well, I wanted to make sure I honored everyone's time and kept it at an hour. But I do things like this sometimes, even on our Facebook page. It's called Uplifting Relationships Community as well. So I do things there. So just be on the lookout. You know, it's always so important to have a supportive community that believes in marriage, that wants to see your marriage win. Because as you know, there's not a lot out there like this. You know, there's so much advice in the opposite direction, and you want to kind of inoculate yourself from that negativity, and you want to be in communities and around people who believe in marriage and want to see your marriage foster and grow. So if there aren't any questions, I will sign off on today. Let's see if we have any new members. I will welcome you in, and the first 5 people to get signed up will get that one-on-one with me. And yes, so just so happy to have you all here. And if you have any questions, I'm always one email away at info@upliftingrelationships.com. Okay, you guys, take good care. It was so nice to spend the afternoon with you all. Awesome, awesome. You're welcome, Victoria. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. So nice to meet you all. Best wishes for all my new brides, and even if you've been married for a good long time. You guys take good care. Bye-bye. You're welcome.